Girl.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Melt. It's got to be hot across the country. Maybe not San Diego, which is not where I am. Is it hot in Colorado?
Right now, it's not. I'm like the only person that's not melting in the United States. It's like a high of 80, 85. Totally lovely. I'll take it.
Well, even though the show is now comping Cali-Rado, so for those of you who are tuning in, we're doing Colorado and California. Why are we doing that? Because Corianne and I love each other. We figured we don't need to separate this thing. Let's just combine the two. Except what you're looking at behind me is, don't feel sorry for me. I'm in the grand city of New York, New York. So the city that's so nice, they had to name it twice, as they like to say. I know. So for those of you who are tuning in, don't feel bad for me because I'm in one of the great cities of the country. So LA, New York, sister cities. Here with a friend, looking at architecture that is unbelievable, built 150, 200 years ago. And what you see in the back here is you're probably going to be looking at that for the next month or so. So that's what I'm up to. Corianne, how's the summer treating you? What's going on?
Oh, so far so good. My little birdies that are in my mud room, they're flying. They're like all over that room now, and I'm just having a blast being a mama bird by watching them. And my greenhouse is popping, and just life is good in the summers. Oh, and literally 10 minutes ago, I got closing paperwork 2 days early for a closing that was supposed to happen on Friday. That never happens.
Come on now. Early? Come on now. On a Friday. So it's 5 o'clock somewhere. It's actually 6 o'clock here. Right. So it looks like somebody's buying drinks in the next hour. You can send me one from Drinkly. Hi, everybody who's joining us. Thank you. We'll give it a second just for everybody to get on in here. And we are missing one of our favorite people today. What is going on with Austin? He's got so much going on. It's just the ladies in the house.
Oh, yeah. So Austin normally joins us as our numbers guy, underwriting all things. And if you were on Straight Outta Compton today, Jamil tried to test me by telling me the bedroom bath count and the square footage. And there was like twice where I was like, huh? Sorry, say that again. And that's because numbers will go in and out of my brain like that. And that's why I have Austin as my business partner. But today he is taking good care of his family. He sent me a long paragraph of things that is going on, and I couldn't even recount it to you because it's big and long.
It's a lot. Okay.
I'm going to need a second because, as you can see, my dogs are losing it. So I will be right back on stage as I go.
Yes, I will take front and center. And you know what? We're going to jump right in. So we're kibitzing a little bit and just to say hello and get folks in here. So here's the rules of the game, guys. We want to make sure that any of the addresses that actually go into the chat, that be kind, okay? These might be addresses that people do or do not have under contract. And so the premise of this show is to make sure that you know how to comp a property either in California or Colorado. I happen to be in California. I'm in the great state of California. I live in Los Angeles, but I can pretty much comp anything within California. And we've got something in Sacramento and another one in Lawndale. So for those of you who are tuning in from Cali, put all the addresses in, even if it's not something that you think you're going to have under contract, just put it in there and let's comp it and let's practice. Because there's one thing after 19 years of being in this business, I've had my license for 19 years as of July 5th. So it's just a couple of days ago because we're in July of 2024, that you must practice how to comp. The only way out is through. I know the popular thing to do is to hire VAs for everything and make sure that, there's other people doing other projects within your business. Guess what? I'm of the belief that everyone needs to start in the mailroom, as we used to say. You got to start at the bottom, and no one's above anything. So if you're going to teach somebody how to do something, you must know how to do it yourself in order to be able to teach it. And that's why Corianne and I started this, so that this is a practice run. And, I'm not the best at it. It's an art, not a science, right? But I can at least get us within a ballpark. And that's the other thing about comping is that you may want to ask 1 or 2 or 3 other people before you ask your clients, like, what do you think this is going, ask the agent, what do you think the after repair value on this property would be? Or are you doing a small lot development on something? Or what are you utilizing, this land for, so that you know who your customer and your client is, and then you can comp appropriately. But on the show, pretty much we comp for wholesaling. So would that be a flip or a wholesale? So we had some of the ground rules laid out, but it looks like we can just jump right in with Corianne. So we've got something up in here in Sacramento, I see, and Lawndale. mostly here in Cali, and another one in Compton. So straight out of Compton, but straight into Compton. So Compton is not what it used to be anymore, man. Compton is still kind of, you could make a couple rap songs about Compton, not so much about Inglewood. They put a new football stadium. The SoFi Stadium is Inglewood. There's still a couple of blocks in Inglewood that might be a little bit rough around the edges, but give it another 10 or 15 years. And when you're talking about community redevelopment, you're talking about an entire city being practically redeveloped. Inglewood is going to go off. It's near the airport. It's got the SoFi Stadium. It has the YouTube Stadium. There's a whole Clippers are going to be down there, the basketball team. I mean, don't sleep on Compton and Inglewood, guys. It's not what it used to be 35 years ago. So yeah, it's pretty good thing happening going on in LA. Anyway, let's jump in. Okay, so Sacramento, we want to start there.
Yeah, do you want me to share privy and you will guide me in California?
Yeah.
Cute.
Thanks everybody for being here. I hope everybody's staying inside being cool. It is 95 degrees with 90% humidity outside right now. I am happy to be. Oh, Danielle, you got it, girl. I'm assuming that you are in the great city or the great state of Los Angeles, however you're looking at
it. City state. Will you read me that first address, please?
I will. It is 6347. I guess it's Sayforth. I don't know how to say that correctly. Seyferth. Mr. Peter, thank you for joining us. Thank you for putting something in here in Sacramento. Yeah. So everybody comps a little bit differently. Corianne and I are both licensed realtors, and we both pay separately for privy. We're here to tote it and not tote it. It doesn't mean you have to buy privy and pay extra money. You can, come in here and we'll comp for it. You can call either of us and we'll help you comp it. But it is a tool that she and I both pay extra for. Why? Because the interface is a lot easier to use in doing quick comping than most of the MLS systems out there are very literal. They're kind of clunky. So if we look at this, can we go? Oh, geez, is there only one picture?
There's only one picture, and so I can go see if there's more in Zillow, but I just want to note that the first thing I notice is that it is so close to what I understand to be a relatively big highway.
Yes.
So looks like we're going to want some comps right up in that area. And it also looks like it's not a single family.
It does. It looks like it's a townhome. I want to say something about this, that I had to trip over this to learn this. So as far as Internet data exchanges, sometimes they're known as IDX. That's the acronym, Internet Data Exchanges. An Internet Data Exchange is something like Privy, Realtor.com, Zillow is an IDX, but King Zillow started darn near about 20 years ago. So my understanding, and the easiest way to explain this is, all these systems need to become members of the multiple listing services, whatever they are. There's not one MLS in the sky. There's many. In fact, Los Angeles County alone, I believe, has 4 or 5 just MLS systems. So if a company like Privy has to go knock, knock, MLS, we want to join you, and we want to push the data from the MLS to our external data exchange, and that MLS says, no, we are not going to do that. We do not want to have a reciprocation with you. And you purchase a third-party IDX system like Privy, this is what's going to come up, guys. That's why it doesn't have a lot of pictures. It's just the information is not being pushed. So don't go, oh, geez, Privy doesn't work. Most likely you're going to have to default it to Zillow. So I just want to say that, because in Northern California, it's all over the place. San Jose is better. They push in San Jose. They push in Oakland better, and downtown San Francisco. But for whatever reason in Sacramento, that MLS system in Sacramento, or if there's more than one, is not pushing. So, everybody's got the same level playing field. Don't get upset about that. You've got to now go to Zillow. Okay, back to this. Because I got to say
real fast.
Why?
I comp a ton of properties all day, every day. I feel like I could do it anywhere in the United States, but Colorado is the market I know best. So it's, numbers come so much faster. But because I comp all day, every day, I see a lot of photos, and I collect toilet open photos. And I'm so sad because this is close, but yes. Okay, guys, sorry, real fast. I have to screenshot this. I don't know why. It's just the funniest freaking thing to me when people take photos of their house they're trying to sell with the toilet open. Okay.
It's not a lot to ask of the realtors out there. Even if you're selling a fixer property that looks like a bag of trash, for the love of God, have some decency and put the toilet seat down. If anything, it's bad feng shui, so put the toilet seat down.
Really?
There, I said my piece. All right, back to the at hand. So here we go. This does look like a townhouse. Is it stating that it is as such? It has an HOA. That's an indicator.
It has an
278.
HOA. I can tell it's attached. Even the way that the layout is happening on the inside of the 2 floors, we're just gonna. It says single family residence. I don't know if I believe that though. Like,
the only difference is that it might be a town home instead of a town like house. So sometimes with these properties like this, I think, and don't quote me on this because it's Northern California, but like at least LA County, I believe it's only 3 feet. If you look at the outside of what would look like a condominium or a townhouse project, but in between the walls, and they do it very conveniently, so it kind of looks like a townhouse, right? But if there's a 2 or 3 foot, whatever I'm saying, maybe even 1 foot, something about like this in between the properties, they can actually be sold as single family residents, but there's still an HOA involved for the common area. I know that sounds confusing, guys, but we remember we're comping, so we want to do like for like. We're a little uncertain about this, Coran, but so what do we want to do? We want to look at the surrounding areas and see, hey, is the rest of it townhouses or townhomes?
well, when I look at this, just from an aerial point of view, and we can probably get more detailed if I did satellite, that looks like one roof to me. But I'm not even gonna get like specific on that, especially if I'm pulling my comps from this area. Like if as long as I'm pulling my comps close to the highway and within what I can assume is the HOA or that at least that subdivision of like for like houses, I'm not going to get on the nuance of whether or not this agent actually listed it correctly as a single family.
Fair enough.
I'm like, okay, well, let's just look at what's already happening in this neighborhood. And in an ideal world, I would love to just pull from this roof type because that tells me these were all built in the same time period. And also, I'm very curious what this 289 is. So let's click on it and find out.
All right. Well, let's drill it down. And guys, listen, don't be afraid to call the agent. Don't be a secret investor yourself or a secret wholesaler yourself. If you don't simply know, then call the agent. Make friends.
That's so true. I wanted to pop over here real fast and see if we had any sold listings. Looks like we have 3 maybe. And I just want to see. If not, I'm going to pull my comp back over here because I want to see before and afters if it's possible. Okay, so ours is a 3-1 and all of these are 3-3s, which is not exciting. That's not like for like, and I don't want to adjust for that many bathrooms. So real fast, this is the 289 I'm interested in. And it, to me, looks really nicely flipped. So I know public records if they will share them. Nope. Okay, not useful. Back to Zillow. Share this tab instead.
This is good,
Here we
Peter,
are.
and this is good for everybody. Because you guys, this is what it looks like. Sometimes you get these stumped, and I love doing this show because I assert, Peter, and put it in the chat that you might have had trouble finding this, and maybe you didn't. And please, I'm not. There's nothing wrong here. This is all about learning, but I'm asserting that you got stumped because either maybe you didn't know if you're using Privy, you didn't know to go to Zillow, or now you weren't sure if this is a single family resident or a townhouse. But this is like the thought process that we're going through. So I'd love to hear your feedback on what was it for you that possibly had you stumped and why you put that address in here, and see if we can support you that way.
These additional bathrooms are so frustrating. This one's for sale, by the way.
Maybe 25,000. I mean, a full bath shouldn't take that much in something like this, like a townhome.
All right. I would really like to just do it from, not from that particular listing, but out here. And I'm not sure where my cross streets are. So let's do this one more time, y'all. I promised you we were going to go way slower than straight out of comp in here. And it's happening. Okay, so Sacramento, Center Park, Sayforth. I'm looking for that over here. Parkway East, Southgate Park. Okay, I'm dangerously close. So let's just zoom in. There it is. is beautiful. I want to know not what's for sale.
Say
Oh, and
what
I
you're
bet
doing
I
though. So if this is somebody's like first or second time, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So we're looking at houses and townhouses because it's kind of the same thing. In this situation, I'm pretty sure this is a townhome because I'm not going to pull anything that looks like this, but I'm going to make that a little bit wider just to make sure. And for sales is the 279, the 325. That one's definitely a real house. Let's go in a little bit more. So that's what's for sale and active. And I like to know what those things are because if this 325, yeah, look at how long it's sat on market, 61 days at 325. Even as a beautiful property, we know our ARV now has to be below that because a flipper wants to sell something in 30 days. So that's just nice to know. I will always want to know what's for sale. And then I'm going to go to solds, which is actually where we're going to pull our comps from. That's a real house, not a townhome. This looks like it might be, nope. Oh, Delali. I don't think we have any like for like right here. Okay, let's see how far back I'm actually checking these solds. So,
And Peter said, he's using both. So he is using Privy and he is using Zillow, and he can't figure it out if it's a townhouse or a single family residence, which we're looking at both, for the sake of the audience. But whoa, what do we have here? You got it?
I mean, way too old to technically be a comp. Like Jamil would be like, trash. 2022 was the height of the market, but this is the only one I've seen that's close to the 3-bedroom, 1-bath that's sold, and it's sold at 200. So that immediately tells me on just like negotiation and what's happening here that they're not getting their price at 279, not even close. Because that probably is where at best we're going to be able to list. Oh, it is 2-bath. Oh, that's good. Okay. Because then I can take this and say that I've got to be a little bit lower than that 325. And that's after repair value because this one's pretty. Like,
yeah.
Let's triple check. It's pretty for a townhome. Lovely, lovely, lovely. In comparison to ours, ugly, ugly, ugly. So I would look at this and I would say it will actually sell on market closer to a 290 or 300. And that's your ARV. And now we have to adjust for a purchase price of getting something that's actually going to look like this. Yep. All of that to say, personally, if this were in Colorado, I would walk away. There's not enough buyer populace interested in townhomes and that slow, like low margin. And this one is going to scare them away. So that's my initial evaluation, but you know the market better. What are you seeing?
I don't know this micro market of Sacramento. Can you scroll out a little bit more and see where we are here?
North, let me remove houses because I'm pretty freaking sure this is a townhome and just see what's in the zip.
Here's
another thing that we can do.
It's always price. It's always, always, always price. Just as a realtor with my realtor hat on, I have literally sold guys properties that were in lovely neighborhoods in lovely locations. And literally the back wall was the freeway wall. I mean, you couldn't get any more obvious of the elephant in the room. Like I didn't need to say to my buyer, hey buyer, there's a freeway wall right here with the noise so loud that my hair is blowing back because the cars are going by. This is at least a block or so away. So sometimes a buyer is like, all it takes is one. However, investors are never going to take that risk. So unless this thing is darn near a half off sale, they're not even going to really be interested. Now that's number one. Number two is location, right? So it's price, location. Now we say, I don't actually know enough about this micro market to say, is there something like, is this a school district? Is it near something that's conditional? Is there a country club there? Is there, horse riding? Are there parks nearby? That's what I mean by conditional. We can't change those things, just like we can't change that main drag going through there. Well, the upside is that maybe there's something there that people really will put up with because they want to be there. So A better example might be that everyone on the call would know is, say, Beverly Hills, right? Just about everybody in the world knows where they think Beverly Hills is. And people try to get into Beverly Hills because they want to send their kids to the public school system within Beverly Hills, the city limits. So maybe there's something like that in this micro market that I'm unaware of. If you don't know that and you're doing wholesaling virtually, then turn Netflix off, turn on, what is happening in this part of Sacramento, and find out a little bit more about what's going on. And then also ask the agent as well and roll them in. Tell me more about this neighborhood. What do you think? So between price and location, and when I say location, not just the location of the property, but what is in around there that would maybe cause somebody to put up with something else, right? Including an investor. But I think, Corianne, where this is, Sacramento, unless it's near what's called the snow line. So now you're getting up towards like the Tahoe area. It's a little prettier than downtown Sacramento. I say this gingerly, but there's a lot of parts of Sacramento that are closer to the airport and other sides of Sacramento that maybe are not the most desirable that people would want to invest in. You've got to do your homework on that, right? So that's always going to play into price as well. So I say that this has got to probably be somewhere in 65 to 68%. That's generous of ARV. So clearly it's overpriced.
And I think it's priced at ARV because even if I go to recent sales of 3-bedroom, 2 baths in a different townhome subdivision, and we don't know HOA costs, we don't know anything in regards to that in this moment to kind of factor those things in. But let's assume this neighborhood is similar to this neighborhood, except not backing the highway, probably backing a shopping center and closer to amenities that you can walk to. I would go, okay, yeah, we're probably sitting around a 280 ARV, which also is confirmed by our 315 or 325 that hasn't sold yet and is way nicer. So I would just go back to this agent and have a conversation about, let's actually look at this property again, because this is really interesting to note when you're on the Zillow side. It's been on market for 18 days. It has 177 saves. And it is, which is really good numbers, by the way, in terms of like save for a house that kind of looks like this, which to me says a retail buyer is probably the right buyer here. And I come back to the agent and I go, I think this is priced at where I can bring it once I put all of the additional work in that I want to. That being said, I'm sure somebody is fine with putting in some elbow grease and picking this up at retail. If they're not, if you don't find that kind of buyer, hit me up before you drop the price on the market. That's literally it. And then, circle back with them in 30 days if it's sitting still on market and start talking about this price down. But I think that's your strategy here.
Yeah, because we want to leave people on the high note, right? We want to leave this audience on a high note. So you may get frustrated, Peter, let's just say, right? Like, why is this at retail? Why is this at ARV? Basically, it's being sold, at ARV. Well, it is what it is. Honestly, the seller really calls the shot. We don't know the motivation of the seller. Brent Daniels always says price, timeline, condition, motivation. Those are your 4 pillars. So no agent, by the way, is entitled to tell you any of that. So please don't assume that an agent is going to just open up the kimono and say, well, here's all of my cards. Here's all the answers that you're ever looking for. A lot of it has to do with rapport building, trust, and consistency. And I've said it before on the show, is that consistency breeds trust, and people want to do business with people they know, like, and trust. So if you're new at this, then it's like dating. You want to call up the agent. You don't want to make them wrong. Why is this thing at, ARV? No, nobody wants to be made wrong. Just start a dialogue, start a conversation, and then be the one that's consistent, because that consistency will breed trust. So call back in maybe 3 weeks, call back in 2 weeks, see what's going on. And Jamil says it, this is a dance. You've essentially lobbed the ball over the fence to say, well, I'm interested in buying this. I just can't buy it at this price. And so now it's a little bit of a waiting and a follow-up game. And until this thing is stamped sold and somebody has the title transferred, do not leave the game. Still have skin in the game, because there's been many deals that I've done over the years that I'm the last person standing. And the only reason I got it is because they said that the level of professionalism and follow-up was there, and that agent wanted to do business with me. It took a minute. It might've taken 6 months, but at least we did the deal. So don't ever forget that when you're doing these. Okay.
For Peter, just a few different things to lock down. And this one's not easy. So, there's variance and conversation to have. But yeah, I would state this as a 280, 285 ARV based off everything that we're seeing. And this is also giving a little bit of lenience that a buyer is going to want to see in a neighborhood that doesn't have a lot of flips. They like seeing more competition in their neighborhood because it gives them more comps. So if you don't have that, you've always got to bring your numbers down. So 280 is your ARV. They might be able to sell this at retail. Renee, did you say you could go all the way up to 68% in the California area?
I'm kind of guessing in this part of Sacramento, 65, 68% of ARV is the purchase price, right? So Corian's saying 280 is your ARV. So they basically have it listed as a finished product, as a flip, if you will. So now we got to do about 68, 65, 68%. I'm guessing. I wouldn't do 71, 70, 72% of ARV in this neighborhood.
Okay, perfect. Because I was just about to say then if you took that at 68%, your offer would be 190 for cash.
Yeah.
If they truly are that motivated. So,
all right.
Onward and upward. Let's look at the next one.
Okay.
I wouldn't even call it stumped. We put that puzzle together.
Hey. Okay, we got another one.
All right.
4522. Oh, tell me when you're ready. You can do pretty on this one. 4522 West 167, 167th Street in Lawndale, California. Mr. Alfred, thank you so much for being here, sir. Okay, let's see what we have.
Ooh, she's a tiny little shack.
I like it. So the first thing I look at when I see this is I think to myself, what is the zoning? So I'm just thinking out loud with you guys. What's the zoning? Why? Because to the left, at least stage left or stage right, I guess, of this property is an apartment building. And it looks like there might be some low-lying apartments to the right. So I think to myself, is this going to be a flip? Or is it going to be possibly a tear down for a small lot development? So that's just a little bit of my out loud thinking. So now we're looking at this from a different angle. These are the Redfin pictures.
From 2019, by the way. Okay. So, yeah, it kind of depends on what it's looking like on the inside now.
My guess looking at those photos is that it probably was a rental. So, I mean, I'm guessing here, guys. This is just me literally stream of consciousness. So you can see like both Corianne and I, how we think, and that this is the art part of it. So, oh, it is multifamily. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So then there you go. It probably was a renter. Why do I even say that? Honestly, you just look at thousands and thousands and thousands of photos. I don't know what it is, but sometimes renters, man, they just don't have a lot of pride of ownership. They just don't. They have stuff strewn everywhere. It looks a mess, and you go like, all right, well, it's probably a rental. I hate saying that, but it's just pigeonholing stuff. So it's a 2-bed, 2-bath. What is it?
I was saying it's practice. Like the more you look at these, the more you're used to calling an agent and they say, oh, it's a rental. And you go, oh, yeah, it looks like a rental. And it's just you start to put those things together.
But it's saying it's a multifamily, but it's saying it's 2-2. So what is that, like a 1-1 or something? I'm very curious.
Question for in the chat is, are we talking about buying one unit or are we talking about buying the building? This is very important.
Let me
2 units. Does not matter.
The lawn. Okay, so Alfred's saying I'll be in roll call at 3:30. I don't know what that means, but that property in Lawndale was bought as an investment and then ran out of capital for the project. They're asking $760. There was a private money lender in second position for $110,000. See, here's how you kind of get to know these things, right? The plan was to build an ADU and turn the existing 1-1 duplexes. See, guys, I didn't even read this and you just guess it. 1-1 duplexes into 2-1s. So we're going to add another bedroom onto each duplex. We need to both units. Okay, so this is what I call value add. You're going to see a lot of this in Southern California. I refer to it as forced appreciation. So people like to say, oh my God, it's so expensive in California. And it is. But this is what we do here. We don't always flip like you would just easily flip maybe in another area or in another state. You force appreciation. So Alfred, as you said, these people came in with private money lending. They ran out of money and they wanted to turn these smaller 1-1s into a 2-1 with an additional ADU, basically turning it into a quasi triplex. Let's just call it that. So you can get rent on the ADU, but you can't consider it like a third unit. So really we have to comp it like a duplex, and it's an attached duplex.
So I changed this in the settings.
Yeah.
And I moved it to multifamily with, 2 units being the max. So we should be looking relatively at the right thing. The only thing I'm not going to know is the bed and bath. So let's just look at sold recent. Let's see if we can take a peek on the inside and get some info.
Well, that's tight. I mean, 1-1s. Isn't that funny how they used to build stuff like this?
I'm interested in this one. Oh, see, but those are so much bigger in their units.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, in that big long paragraph, was there numbers on additional costs they're expecting?
No. Alfred, I don't know if Alfred left or not. I mean,
okay.
Now we're talking in small lot development. So here's how I would treat this is that I would look at newer development in and around the area within the zip code. I have a couple of small lot developers that I know. So this is where these people do not hang out in Facebook groups. Small lot developers don't hang out in Facebook groups. You really kind of got to press the flesh and get to know them. So I'm going to tell you my thought process. This is not a flip. This is a forced appreciation. So now you're talking about development. So you really need to look at initially a price per square foot on what an addition, a bedroom addition would be, to then force it into a 2-1. And an ADU is, off the top of my head, I mean, it depends on how big it is, okay? But an ADU on this lot is probably going to be at least $130,000. So you don't really look at development as much as just how much it's going to cost. You also look at the end result, like what are the rents going to be? Did you say that? You didn't say that. So I don't want to not do a buy price on this, but it's really, I don't think 2-1 is not going to get you much rent in Lawndale. I mean, you're lucky if you can, well, here, we can go to hot pads.
Okay.
Yeah.
1 second, because I mean, there is one thing that we do differently when we're comping is we're talking about scenarios. Is this even worth our time kind of situations? Because if they're not, we want to let our people know. And I think in a lot of ways, this is somebody else's shit show that nobody else wants to take on.
Yeah.
Like that's just, I mean, based out of everything I'm reading in the comments in regards to what they're looking for and what they're asking, they bit out of the apple a little too big because, taking and flipping those duplexes from 1-1s to 2-1s, that's one project. Adding an ADU, that's another project. And if they're running out of money as they're experiencing this, nobody's going to go, let me raise my hand to take on your shit show.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, unless you know the right buyer right now who's interested in developments, or Renee knows the right buyer, then I would move on and I would look for a deal that, you're going to have a buyer populace for.
Yeah, that's why I was trying to leave you with an answer, because this is not a flip. Okay. So we're not like different lane, right? There's, do I buy this at a flip price? Do I buy it at the 70% rule? No. We are in the developer lane. So it's a different lane, all under the guise of real estate, all under the guise of investors. There's lots of different types of investors. Small lot developers don't always do flips. And if they do, they're doing 2 different numbers. So to leave you empowered with all of this and the audience is, and this is what I would do, is I would call up the small lot developers that I know. And I just from my own training and development, even if this was somebody else's shit show, and just say, hey guys, I want to learn from this. And can you share with me what you would buy this at? Because you know what, maybe you can get it at that price. I mean, if somebody is just bleeding money and they got to let it go, you know what? this is a risk-based business, it's not a television show. So you want to get into this and you're going to get bit some of the time. And maybe that's this person, and maybe you can move it or wholesale it, like wrap it up and wholesale it to somebody else. Anyway, we can let this one go, but this is definitely a development play, not a flip. You got to do two different numbers.
And I don't think they're like terribly off in what they're asking either, but because the uniqueness of the kind of person that would take this on, I would go direct to a buyer on this and see if you could shake anything out of it, and then go back to single family.
It's okay though. We learned something, right? I know.
Oh, absolutely. Okay, 1 second.
We're pegging around hole. Yeah. Where do we?
All right.
Compton. Yeah, let's do Compton.
Yeah, we do. I have anyone from Colorado in the house.
Come on now. We're going to do one for Colorado because I want to know. Corianne, would you be opposed to do something with the land we're doing? Can you do the land comp?
Land comps are insane when it gets down to like trying to figure out those numbers. But yeah, I'd be happy to look at a property and at least move us in the right direction if somebody has land. But let's start with Compton, please.
Let's do it. All right.
I'm
going to shout out some names. Miss Tiffany, Miss Danielle, Shantae's in the house. Come on, ladies. I love it. Hey. Peter, Alfred. Just want to give everybody some love. All right. So we got, where are we with that one in Compton? I'm just got out of here. Here we go. Laurel, 801 East Laurel Street in Compton. City of Compton. That was my white girlfriend.
That was great. I loved that. That was great. Okay, so let's dive in a little bit deeper here. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, on market for 66 days. Quite a minute. 1 story, 1924. It's an oldie.
Yep.
On a pretty good lot.
Active, 66 days. Okay, no bites in 66 days. Already in Los Angeles County tells me it's overpriced, especially in Compton, because stuff is a moving in Compton. All right.
So it says it's back on market because buyer had trouble qualifying for the loan, which might mean it's forced into a cash deal.
Thank you, Danielle. Actually, maybe go to Zillow as well, and we can do the comping here. But Danielle says there's more picks on Zillow. Oh, you know what? This might be a thing. Thank you for bringing that up again. So I'm not going to spend the time in this call, but it's interesting because Lawndale is more known as the South Bay in Los Angeles County. Los Angeles County is like the size of Portugal, I've been told. It's that big, just the county alone. So this, going back to what I said at the beginning of the call, I bet you anything that the MLS that is down in that Compton sort of South Bay-ish area is probably not pushing the IDX photos, the Internet Data Exchange photos, to Privy. That's why there was 1 photo in there. So see, guys, you got to have a couple tabs open. King Zillow, though. Zillow's always going to have the rights to just about everything from all the MLSs.
Oof. Woof.
Let's see the bathroom, though. Is that?
Oh, that was the bathroom. There's the toilet. Center myself on toilets. What can I say? Okay, so there's 2 baths. I think we're looking at a different one right now.
Seat down. So already you can see that there was some attempt. Oh, here we go. Okay, it looked like there was some attempt. Go back for 1 second to that bathroom because I want to do a stream of consciousness. It looks like there was an attempt to do that one, to do some kind of upgrading. I mean, the photos themselves are horrible. They look like they were taken with a cell phone. So there's no crisp. There's nothing crisp about these photos. So that step-in shower like that is very indicative of a 1920s kind of Spanish. You'll see it all over LA County. It doesn't matter what city, Pasadena, Lawndale, Compton, whatever. However, the toilet's not terrible and that sink is not terrible. I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm just saying upgrades, right? It isn't like hoarder house-ish. So somewhere, somehow, my guess, my spidey senses tell me that somebody attempted to do an upgrade on this somewhere. So just note to self. Now go to that next photo that looks like
other way.
That's interesting. That's a bedroom for that bathroom. No, the bedroom. Yeah, that one. So see, someone looks like, again, it's hard to tell from these photos, It looks like someone's trying to redo the floor, or maybe they took up the carpet. Again, a lot of guessing here.
It's definitely giving, it was a hoarder house and we cleaned it out.
Although
they did some work, right?
Yeah, somewhere, somehow, somebody did some work. So, all right, let's keep rolling. So it gives us some indicator that it's not the worst house I've ever seen or been in. I'm not burning my shoes after I walk in this house, which I've been known to do.
Oh my gosh. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet. It's the 1924 aspect that to me would be like a red flag from Colorado. Are you used to seeing a lot of 1924s flipped in California?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Most of LA County was built in the 20s, some in the teens, the craftsman style properties. The 20s, I would say, gets more into the Spanish style. And then now you're cruising into the mid-century moderns, 50s, 60s. And those are always sought after. So yeah, most of LA County is about 100 years old, close to it.
2021.
That's
No.
a completely rebuilt
Let's
house.
try again. Yeah, let's try again. What are my cross streets? Did you catch that by chance?
I did not. I gotta.
This is why I hate comping and so out.
You have fresh eyes. What are you talking about? I have glasses. Come on, fresh eyes.
Okay, so we're right off Compton Boulevard and Laurel
Compton
and
Boulevard. Okay.
Alameda is
I
here.
see. Okay.
Let's find our. Oh, lovely. This is exactly where I want to be so that I can actually filter and look at some things. So, not townhouses. We're in town homes. I really don't want to see a fully. I prefer to just see 6 months. Apply. Sold. Let's see what we're dealing with.
Ooh, that looks like a nice one. 640, 725. Yeah. Compton's all over the place these days.
It's a 2-1.
Here, this is a fun indicator. Look at Zillow. Look at, even though it might not be right in appraisal rules, look at these after repairs. I mean, you can see the activity just by the grid photos in Zillow. There's a lot of, like kind of after upgrades and stuff like that. So that's good, right? That's a good indicator there's activity here.
Yeah, that's huge. I want to look in this guy right here.
Yeah, that's a cute house.
And it used to not be. So
yeah, did a great job on this.
Huge. Sorry, I'm getting dings all over the place. I'm trying to block them out and just comp. 650. I want to know if. Oh, can I see? I bet you I can.
I think this is our comp, though.
It might be. Oh. I think it might be as close as. Yes, there it is. Sorry. Get excited when there's a flip that's rear by. Okay, so what I'm looking at is that this got flipped in 2 months. Was relisted at 649, and they bought it at 460. So to me, that just gives you almost all of your data because you're looking at 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Ours is a little bit bigger, just a smidgy boo. And this one is closer to Alameda, so this could feel a little busier, but we're still right in the neck of the right woods. And this isn't actually backing a major road, so I'm not going to give it any hits for that. And it lands me right at 650 for this after repair value and tells me that people would buy around 460. I'm curious if I can find out condition of this place when they
know. Now, because we have low friends in high places such as myself, I do have the MLS. So what I would do is I would go on the MLS because Zillow took out the before and after photos when they did solds, right? Or did they not? Am I hallucinating? Where did this come up?
That's why I've got privy. Okay, so I took that comp back over.
Okay.
And let's flip through this sucker.
That is so interesting. So see, Zillow took away all the photos when it sells, but Privy still has them. Guys, this is the deal. Look at that. Look at that cute kitchen.
Yeah, it had like you could see more potential in this one than you could probably in our subject property. Like initially you just have to look past the junk, and in ours you've got to like rebuild it a little bit in your head. But let's actually do the math here. So what is 440 divided by 644? 67%. Boom.
That's about right.
Magic.
That's actually not bad.
I try to get it a little lower than that. I would aim for like a 420 so that you can give it to your buyer at a 440 and they'll love you forever. That's what I'm seeing. But that's your comp.
And just because Danielle, she put in 412 South Burris, Burriss, as and question mark, question mark. So she was thinking that that might be a comp. So let's see. You know, this is an educational show. Let's see. Can we go to that? 412 South Burris. So the buy price on this, Danielle, is really should be like low 400s for this property.
To me, this isn't like for like. Let me quadruple check and look at our. Yeah, there's no way for you to get this like Spanish architecture face out of our face, but it is possible to get the boxy look of our other comp. Let me pull it back up. This 645? No, 650. There it is. You see how this is kind of boxy, and ours isn't going to have like a really nice patio like this, unfortunately, but it definitely isn't going to look like a Spanish abode that has a pretty fireplace like this.
Though
You know?
that's known more as a Spanish. The other one, the flip one, is more known as like a California bungalow. So it's not a craftsman technically because it was built in the 20s, but it's without me digging any harder, and I'm just looking at the photos, I would say California bungalow. So it's somewhere between like a Spanish and a craftsman in that era. They were starter homes back in the day.
This one kind of throws me a little bit off in the regards that this is not nearly as nice as the one that sold at 649. And it's a little bit smaller. I don't know. Does this one have a garage? Do you have a garage? I don't think this one has a garage.
I don't think so, unless it's in the back. Yeah.
Okay, but when Jamil is like for like, and do they have the same faces and apples to apples, and he's, you know, all of the things that he's basically saying like this face has to be possible out of your flip to even consider a 725. And in this situation, it's not.
Yeah.
So we want to be looking at these types.
And this is the learning, right? There's no sort of wrong answer. Like this is not ethics here. It's not right and wrong per se, but it's just a learning. And also with flips anywhere in the country, but especially in a city like Los Angeles, where there's just so much old architecture, it's also knowing who the buyer is. So it's not forcing a square peg in a round hole. Like, okay, I'm the high and mighty flipper. I'm coming around and I'm giving you basically a brand new house on a platter. It's also who's willing to push the boundaries of what. You know, sometimes people don't want to live in certain cities, but that's all that they can afford. And then also they don't want a certain style. And so, you know, are they artists? Are they more working class people? You know, the east side of Los Angeles is more artists, and they're going to kind of put up with the funkiness of certain properties. Whereas in other cities, they just won't, you know, so you really have to know like who is your buyer for this particular property before you even sell it to the fixer who's already going to have that conversation with themselves. So keep in mind who your customer is and also who the buyer is. Definitely customer meaning who the flipper is, and also, and then who the buyer is going to be, because they're going to think about that as well. And what's popular. That craftsman style is pretty popular, and the Spanish for sure, and mid-century modern's 100%. If you can buy mid-century modern, it'll sell almost every time.
Clearly out to lunch, 131 days, 875. I love to look at solds and know like what's been sitting.
Well, also just we're almost to the top of the hour, and I don't know if you've got one more in you, Corianne. Where are you? Peter's given us another sort of stump for our money, and Sacramento, or going back up north. So we should probably go right to Zillow because I don't know that Privy's going to help us out. Remember with the IDX pushes and the information. So 4055, excuse me, 35th Street in Sacramento, 4055 35th Street, Sacramento. He said, if you guys want to take on another Sacktown challenge, I know this will make it my second same town comping, but he said this part of Sac is at 70% of ARV.
Where are you? Not Detroit, Michigan. Fail, Zillow.
What?
Right.
What's
Will you
happening?
give me those numbers again? Was it 4055?
4055 35th Street in Sacramento. I can give you the zip if you need that too.
45th Street.
35th Street.
Oh, okay. All right. User error. What is this one? No. That's Detroit again. That's Virginia.
Do 95820 is the zip. 95820.
Oh God, the 9 disappeared.
I'm so
My
sorry.
computer is over it.
4005. 4005. Thanks, Peter. I saw that. It's the font is like a 1-point font. I can't hardly see it.
Oh, it was user error on your side. Okay.
Hence the glasses. Okay, we're in town. We got it.
66 photos. They were not freaking kidding about taking some photos. Are any of them inside? Are any of them inside? Yes. 32, just over 1,000 square feet. Ooh, she ugly in every way. This has been lived in hard. Oh, I love a good point. Left direction. I love it. But they closed the toilet lid, so let's give it to them.
There's 2 points.
Right. We score. We have like a scoring thing. We're like, how many hands were in this? Okay, so it looks like we're trying to point out potential mold.
Yeah.
All right. She's a project. Yeah. It's 90s.
Yeah.
90s chic. Okay. Let's look at the actual.
We said yes to that tile on the floor. God.
Oh, okay. 29 days, 121 saves. It's pretty healthy. All right. What are my cross streets, y'all? I got to know before I back out. 16th, 12th, 99. Let's find her. All right, 99, 16th. Okay, good.
Ah, there we go.
Lovely. What's this? 260. And these are for sales. So just a quick moment for the for sales, and then I'll go to solds.
I can tell already at a glance, guys, this is just doing this for 100 years. At a glance, it's already overpriced. But that's okay because we got to find fact. We have to factualize our overpricedness.
Knowledge. Okay, so again, are we going to be able to create a face like this? Probably not. Which I think is very cute. So that's interesting that that's at 330 with a very cute outside. I can't see the inside, but it just sold. So if that's a 22,900 and we're just over 1,000 square feet, and did I say 3.2? I'm pretty sure it's a 3.2.
3.2, yeah.
Yeah, that alone, just off of this number, grossly overpriced. Let's look at this 120.
Which is like data number one. So I just did an at a glance, which I'm looking at the gallery here on the right-hand side of Zillow. And I just those 4, maybe 5, 6, 7 properties, I'm like, overpriced. Oh, that's cute.
Just a little bigger than ours. 3.2, sold at 430. I'm interested in that one. Holding too small. 4.2, too big. Which is interesting because this is a 430 and this is a 425. That was a little bit bigger. It must be extra cute in that 430. Okay, that's bigger and at 400, which literally just kicked our comp down. Sure. Oh, it's not clean on the inside. Okay, so we're somewhere between 405 and 430 right now, playing the dip, duck, dodge dive here. Do we have a garage? I don't remember taking a look at that. Could this be it? Could you be our comp?
435. That's cute. Or maybe not.
It's a little bit bigger. Again, I'm like, I don't remember if we had a garage or not. I should remember. So I need to go back and look at that. This is across 14th, which I would prefer not to go.
And that's something, guys, with appraisal rules. I know just Jamil, so we're, want to go to our fearless leader here. He had just changed the appraisal rules to basically be able to go over some of the major roads and things like that, because sometimes you have to, but be very, very careful. I know here in LA, like Hollywood specifically, Hollywood and then Hollywood Hills East, which are two different actual areas within the MLS. If you go across Franklin, which is one of the main drags in Hollywood, is a completely different neighborhood. So not only do you want to kind of like spread your appraisal rules, because if you don't have enough to work with, sometimes you got to go there, but also if you go there, don't go into another neighborhood. And how do you know that? It's just, you got to keep digging and drilling on these neighborhoods, especially if you're going to be virtual.
I'm going to check out one of our comps here. Oh, one of my agents is calling me. Darling. Please bring it to me, baby. Just want to know if this comp is a flip, because then it'll skew every.
Well,
okay, so
thanks for hanging in there with us, guys. Yeah, go ahead.
355 to 150. Okay, real quick, now that we've actually seen what our comp, or like subject property, not comp, subject property looks like, I'm going to take this address over to Privy because I want to see what investor-friendly comps it pulls, if any. So I went and stole the address. Forgot to take you guys with me, sorry. Let's see. So what that means is, like, Jamil, when he comps, he wants to see everything. We know it. We love it. But we also have these settings over here that are pretty awesome. So what I'm going to say all and investor only. If you hit investor only, it's keeping track of whether it should be a comparable. If you hit all and investor only, you're saying, I'll see anything done by an investor in this area. It's my favorite. So I'm going to do that. And this is what I love. You can immediately see buy prices to resale prices and start to get a feel for it. And then I'm going to go to solds, and I want the most recent data right here for me. How long did it take the market to sell? So
nice.
That one bedroom or one bath is annoying, though. It looks like most of the things that have happened recently are one baths, and they didn't feel the need to expand it to a second one.
Well, look at the lot size, though. Look how small that lot is.
Yeah, and all of them right here are just like way older than this 1991. So I think that 1991 is what can push you up into the 430s that we were seeing. But let's go back, share this tab instead. Sacramento Queen. I honed in on to 3 months instead of 6 months just to see if that kind of changed our numbers, and it did. Like, a lot of the sales are lower than they were at the beginning of the year.
Well, remember, we're well into an election year. Inflation has not changed, and rates really haven't changed. I mean, there was a big conversation that rates were going to have dipped already, and they haven't. So,
one car garage. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, let's see if we can see inside this bad boy, because ours is a little bit bigger, which is great, but this is clearly cute on the outside. Only one car garage, sold recently. I wouldn't want this to be our comp, but it might just be the comp. Let's see. Are you looking at Privy right now?
Me? No, I can.
Share. Okay, now you should be looking at Privy.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
See, and this says it's a, okay, 3-1. Ours has an extra bath. Peter, out here challenging us. Previous sale, so it wasn't a flip. Killing me, Smalls, killing me.
I think that this could be,
talk to me,
dangerously low as in like 230, and that includes assignment fees to contract it at like a 230
mm-hmm.
to as high as maybe a 250, just kind of rounding this up.
No, I'm glad you are, because the difference between what's sold in 90 days and what's sold in 6 months is absolutely throwing me off here, because ideally I want something like this to be my comp, but it's pushing almost too far back. I'm
doing the math, the quick math on it. Yeah, see, that's a big difference in spread.
And the 2-bathroom is very, very helpful. When did this one sell? Yeah, why is this price going down over the... I feel pretty confident that if you do this kind of work right on this property, that you are landing at 430. And I'm adjusting amongst a few of these things, and 430 might be seen as like a high ARV in the area. So if you were up against difficult amount of buyers or something, I would just adjust down to a 400 when you start. Which makes a lot of sense with the more recent sales being 330. If you can see in this property, please do, because if you can see in this property and it's absolutely gorgeous, then I would take the appraisal rule of adjusting up for that additional bedroom, and you're probably going to land more at like a 350 than a 400. And that's going to be a huge difference on your actual buy price.
That's why I said low 200s to maybe a 250. And that would include a reasonable, 10 grand assignment fee. And then if you had to sell it to a dispo person that they're making a minimum 10 grand, that's usually about what they'll go. They don't try to go much lower than that. Especially if it's an organization like Keegley or Fair Trade or New Western or any of these, bigger guys that have bigger buyer pools. So Peter, you didn't necessarily stump us, but here's what you do. You go back and you have a conversation with the agent, and you just go back to what we've always been saying, which is to stay in the communication. I can't remember how many days on market it was, or then again, you would want to try to find out the motivation of the seller. And so all these are key factors. You can see where ad nauseum, you're going to hear this over the years, but it's like putting a puzzle piece together. And so if you forget one, like, oh, but wait, what's the motivation, or wait, what's the end buyer thinking of? I mean, this is why there's so much down and quiet time on these shows sometimes, because we're actually thinking. It's not like we don't know what's going on. We're like, oh, but wait, but what, but wait, but what? And that's the art of it. So
absolutely.
Hopefully that brought you guys some value. I know you guys stayed right to the bitter end. Peter, I hope you're here. Guys, please pass the word on this show. You know what? Comping is a lot of fun. It's not always sexy. It's not the razzle dazzle show. It's not a million billion question and answers about, who's the top performer out there. But I tell you what, this is a skill that once you really get the basics down, nobody can take this away from you in this industry. So whether or not you end up sticking with wholesaling or you just become an investor buyer, whatever the case may be, you can always learn how to comp. So please keep coming back at least to this show. Corey and I appreciate you being here, and just keep bringing your addresses. Miss Corianne, take us home.
Y'all, I really appreciate the time you spent with us. I hope you got value out of it. If you did, as soon as we close this, please comment down below wherever you are watching this, Facebook, YouTube, my YouTube, her YouTube. It does not matter. That will boost us up. It will give us joy in our heart. And we just really appreciate you guys being a part of this experience for us. So we'll be back next Wednesday. Same time, same place, same states. All right, y'all. We'll see you later.
Bye, everyone.